Coming out swinging after Attorney General Merrick Garland's decision to appoint David Weiss as special counsel in the Hunter Biden case. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer calls the move part of the Justice Department's efforts to attempt a Biden family cover-up. Speaker Kevin McCarthy tweeted, if Weiss negotiated the sweetheart deal that couldn't get approved, how can he be trusted as a special counsel? He promised Republicans will continue to pursue the facts. Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts, who I noted was somewhat grinning during what I was quoting there from those Republicans. Welcome, Congressman. Tell me, what are Republicans complaining about? Isn't the appointment of an independent investigator exactly what your colleagues wanted? And could or should this appointment take the case out of the political realm?
Hi, Alex. It's nice to be back on. Not just an independent investigator, but also one who was originally appointed by Donald Trump, which the Republicans can conveniently forget when they attack him and attempt to politicize this independent investigation. Let's be very clear here. If Hunter Biden broke laws, Hunter Biden should be accountable. Being the son of a president does not make you above the law, and the Department of Justice has never said otherwise. That same principle applies to the former president of the United States, who has been indicted now for conspiring against the American people and trying to overturn the very Constitution he was sworn to preserve, protect, and defend. And I would encourage Americans in both situations to recognize that this is not the Trump show, this is not the Biden show. The protagonist in this is the rule of law, is the core American principle that nobody is above it, and that we pursue equal justice in this country for all people.
So let's pick up on that and talk about a rather interesting request from Donald Trump's attorneys this week, because you know they are asking a federal judge to allow them to set up a secure facility, it's known as a SCIF, where they can discuss classified documents in the Mar-a-Lago case. Now, the proposed location? Inside Mar-a-Lago. That's precisely where the alleged crimes took place. What's your reaction to their solution to keep the nation's national security secrets safe?
It's amazing how concerned Donald Trump is now about classification hygiene, as opposed to previously when he had them in his bathroom in Mar-a-Lago. This is just a delay tactic, is my presumption. And what it really underscores is how out of step Donald Trump is with core American national security and foreign policy principles. He does not have regard for how this country orients itself for military readiness, and indeed for how we engage with our allies and our adversaries. And example number one is Russia and Ukraine. At this point, Vladimir Putin has a two-word strategy for his war: Trump wins. If Trump wins in 24, which I have to underscore is very much a possibility, we cannot be complacent, he's going to cut and run from Ukraine, and Vladimir Putin will have seized victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, point well taken there. But on the topic of what former Trump White House press secretary Stephanie Grisham told me recently, this is what she said about her experience personally with the former president. Take a listen.
I watched him show documents to people at Mar-a-Lago on the dining room patio. So he has no respect for classified information, never did.
So are you at all confident that Trump's legal counsel can ensure there are no further risks of national security leaks?
No, of course not. And I would actually go a step further. It's not that Donald Trump has no respect for just classified documents. Donald Trump has no respect for the rule of law. Over his 50-year career in the private and public sectors, it has been one long conspiracy against the law, one long trail of petulant litigation to try to avoid accountability from the law. And finally, the buck needs to stop, and we need to hold him accountable in front of the American people for conspiring against the United States Constitution.
Let me ask you, as we switch topics quickly, many of your Democratic colleagues are calling for Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas to step down after the new reporting from ProPublica revealed that billionaires gifted Justice Thomas dozens of destination vacations and private jet rides, VIP passes to sporting events, stays at luxury resorts and the like. Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu said Justice Thomas' alleged actions are not just shocking, they're illegal, and is calling for him to resign immediately. And Lieu's also part of a group of Democrats calling on the Attorney General to launch a federal ethics investigation. Do you agree?
You know, if there were a Supreme Court code of ethics, it's almost certain that what Clarence Thomas did would have been contrary to them. And it just underscores why we need that code of ethics at the highest court in the land. Congress has one. The executive branch has one. Americans expect and deserve that their Supreme Court justices are able to hold themselves to a high standard as well. Clarence Thomas has a lot to answer for, and his actions have diminished the trust and credibility that Americans have in the Supreme Court. It also, to me, furthers the argument for term limits on Supreme Court justices, which should be 18 years, after which they can rotate off the bench to other federal courts.
All right. Massachusetts Congressman Jake Auchincloss, good to see you again. Thanks so much for the chat. Why one of my next guests says